What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the studio. So yesterday was Pokemon Day. Pokemon Day is a day that comes around every year on the 27th of February, and we celebrate the anniversary of Pokemon. It's pretty much his birthday. And every year, well, these past couple years, they've been using Pokemon Day as their own way of showcasing upcoming games, animated series, maybe their Pokemon games, their tournaments, you name it, they probably announce it at Pokemon Day. Well, this year it was no different. They announced Pokemon cards. They announced a Pokemon anime that's coming to Netflix. They have announced a new Pokemon tournament that's happening in Japan. And it's kind of crazy because I always thought the very first Pokemon TCG video game tournament happened in Japan, but they said this is the first time that it will happen in Japan. So I'm like, oh, it's kind of crazy since, Game Freak and all of those, that they're over there in Japan. So you would think that, Japan will be the place where they'll have their tournaments. But they announced that. But there are two things I want to talk about in this video today. And that is the DLC that's coming out for Scarlet and Violet and Pokemon Sleep. We're going to start off with Pokemon Sleep because I did a video of Pokemon Sleep years ago. I think like maybe 3-4 years ago. And it's actually one of my most watched videos on this channel. So I once again, I thank you guys for watching that video. Even though that video wasn't that long, it's still there. We finally get to see what Pokemon Sleep was. And to be completely honest with you, I did not expect Pokemon Sleep to work like this or even look like this, to be completely honest with you. My thoughts on Pokemon Sleep was going to work the same way how the Pokemon Stepper thing worked when Pokemon Heart Gold Soul Saver came out, when you'll transfer a Pokemon from whatever game you're playing to the little Pokemon Plus or Pokemon Plus device, and you just put it on, put it on your device or link it up with your phone, and then when your phone goes to sleep mode, or if you have your phone set up to where it goes to sleep mode at a certain time of day, that device will also go to sleep as well. And as long as you've been asleep, so for example, I sleep like 6-7 hours, all right, that will be totaled and would be divided up or something into experience points for whatever said Pokemon is on that device. Now that's what I thought this was gonna be, because that sounds like a really cool idea. When you're not training your Pokemon on the actual game, you can still train your Pokemon in real life by either going out walking or sleeping and being lazy. So I thought that's how it was gonna work, but I was wrong. It's not working like that at all. Now it is gonna work with Pokemon Go, but working with Scarlet and Violet, Sword and Shield, all that kind of stuff, the Diamond and Pearl remakes, right now it does not look like it's going to happen. But later on, it's coming out later on in the year, so maybe they'll implement those type of features into it. But as of right now, looks like they're not doing that at all. But like I said, just take this with I wouldn't say take it with a grain of salt, because they confirmed it themselves. But let's hope that it does work like that. Now, would I be using it? Probably not, because I only just play Pokemon for, just to see what new features they add. I'm not really those type. I would say I'm a diehard fan, but not as much of a diehard fan as I used to be. I always tune in to play the games when they drop a new one, just to see what kind of new features they add, what new Pokemon they add, if the story's any better, and just just a casual Pokemon fan at this point. But switching over from Pokemon Sleep, just from Pokemon Sleep, it's just one of them, I guess, gimmick ideas that Game Freak came up with. I don't know what you really can call it, but I don't know. It might be a pass for some. It might be a hit for some. At the end of the day, it just depends on you. Now, when we switch over to the DLC for Scarlet and Violet, first and foremost, I got to say this, and I know this is going to make some people mad, but this is just me. Why does every time we get a new game, every time a new game comes out, y'all always jump to we could be going back to the old regions. We could be, so for example, y'all been saying that we can go back to Kalos for the past 2 generations. And I'm like, dog, y'all complain about how bad these games looks, how bare bone these games are. Do y'all really think we're going to go back to Kalos? Like, I understand that y'all using, the location of where Paldea is, comparing it to real life and saying that, Spain is really close to the peninsula of France or whatever people have been saying nowadays. And I'm just all like, y'all gotta understand. I'm like, if Scarlet and Violet came out looking like a hot mess, do y'all really think they're gonna try to give us Kalos with this hot ass mess? Or you think they're gonna fix it first? I mean, even the DLC to myself is kind of a scratch though, because I'm like, maybe the DLC is gonna make the game look better. But the whole, and we're going back to a whole nother region, I gotta let that dream die. I'm sorry, I just gotta let that die. And I feel like Game Freak shot themselves in the foot with that one too, with, you know, Gold and Silver letting us go back to Kanto and all that stuff. You would have thought that the next couple games you'll be doing the same thing. Like, I thought Ruby and Sapphire will be doing the same thing. Like, once you beat Hoenn, you go back to Johto, and so on and so forth. But it seems like they're never going to do... Well, I wouldn't say they're never going to do that again, because maybe out of the blue one day, be out like, you know what, let's go on and give it to them. But as of now, I don't see it happening anytime soon. Now, with the DLC that we got going on here, with these two, Part 1 and Part 2, honestly, I'm not a big fan of the legendary Pokemon. Like, these like the turtle. I've been hearing about the turtle a lot. I'm like, I don't think I would like a legendary turtle Pokemon. I mean, I'm not gonna cap and say that it's ugly, because it does look kind of, it looks beautiful. How about that? It looks very beautiful. It looks very elegant and all that jazz. But that's about as far as I'm gonna go with that, because I don't think this is gonna be good in battle. But it could be good in battle. I don't know. I didn't check the stats or anything like that. But the other legendaries, because I'm guessing those are legendary, yeah, no, they look goofy as fuck. Like, they look really, really goofy. And I know I'm gonna get some hate for it, but I'm like, they just look goofy, you know. But from what I've been told, that it's what's it called, the teal mask or something like that. It looks pretty. The names for these DLCs looks pretty cool. But other than that, I don't know if I'm really looking forward to this the legendaries of this DLC, because Sword and Shield's DLC, their legends was like Urshifu was straight. Calyrex was like Calyrex by himself, not that great. But when he, you know, gets with one of his steed, either the Ghost Steed or the Ice Steed, he becomes I guess. I mean, I barely used them. I just caught the Pokemon and called it a day. Now the new electric, the Gigas Pokemon, Draco Gigas or whatever, what's it called? The Reggies, the Regieleki and the Regi Draco, whatever they're called. Those were pretty dope though. I already did like the Dragon Reggie. The Dragon Reggie was pretty dope. I barely used it, but I did like his design and how it looked and all that stuff. I barely played the DLC for Sword and Shield, as you can tell. Like, I was just really upset with the way it looked and how it ran. So I was all like, man, I'm just gonna have to put this down. After I beat it, I put it down. But hopefully Scarlet and Violet DLC is better than Crown Tundra and Isles of Armor, because Isles of Armor, I didn't like it at all. But they do have a new school. They say there's a sister school called Blueberry Academy. I thought it would have had a Spanish name for Blueberry, but I was wrong about that one too. And it's pretty much you're going abroad studying. So it sounds like, from what I've done heard other people say, it looks like it's going to be like their version of the Battle Tower, but I guess in a different way, so-called the Battle School or Battle Academy or whatever. That's about as much as we know as of right now. Now, when these DLC drops, it's supposed to drop in the fall and in the winter. So you got pretty much all the rest of this year to play Scarlet and Violet, get to where you want to get to and all that stuff. I think they said for you to start the first part, you have to start your, I guess, the treasure hunt. So pretty much complete the tutorial of the game, then start the treasure hunt, and then bam, you can do the DLC. So it looks like, just like with Sword and Shield, you don't have to beat the game to start the DLC. You could probably start the DLC at any time, anywhere. Now, I think with the Blueberry Academy thing, I do think you should beat the game, because that sounds like something that, you know, you would want to clear the game first, and they'll have like high level ass Pokemon over there in Blueberry Academy. And these also, from what I've done read, these don't take place on Paldea. There's some place on the ocean somewhere, so that's also pretty dope. So we'll just have to wait and see. I feel like more stuff is going to be dropped as the coming months. I know Nintendo's not going to be at E3, so we're just going to have to wait and see when they decide to drop something that comes down to DLC and all that jazz. Now, I already talked about the legendary Pokemon. Not the greatest. I'm not really a big fan of these new designs, well, these new Pokemon. Then you got your Paradox Pokemon. And like, my question to Game Freak is, how do they, what is their thought process when it comes to giving legendary Pokemon these new forms? Like, why Suicune and Virizion out of the trio Pokemon they come from? Why did they just pick those two? Are the others getting those new forms too as well? Because I feel like, you know, why Virizion? Like, do people really like Virizion like that? Like, do they really use Virizion a lot? I would think they'll use Pokemon that, you know, that are very popular, like for instance Charizard. Even though Charizard is like overrated to some people, Charizard got a Mega Evolution, got a Dynamax. It doesn't, I think it has a special terrestrialization, I don't know, but I have to go look again. But Charizard is well loved in Pokemon, so that's why it always gets these new forms and all that stuff. I would think the same thing for, you know, other Pokemon that are not up there in popularity like Charizard, but at least up there in popularity like Charizard, like Greninja or Typhlosion or Bulbasaur, Blastoise, all that. So maybe they will get their little special little terrestrialized forms or whatever, because, you know, terrestrialization is not the best gimmick in my opinion, but hey, some people like it, so hey, if you like it, I love it, as long as you enjoying it. But other than that, guys, that's all I got for y'all. Like I said, it was kind of a hit, kind of a miss for me. Pokemon Sleep was totally a miss for me, because I honestly thought it would have worked as like how the stepper thing works, but it didn't. It's not working like that. So we'll just have to wait and see. I would have to give this Pokemon Direct, I have to give it a C, because they did show some stuff that I did want to see, and that was the DLC. I do feel bad for the guys, for the NSO guys, you know, who wanted Ruby, Sapphire, and all those games to come to Nintendo Switch, but it seems like that's not happening. Well, I wouldn't say it's not happening now. I do feel like it will happen, just not now. We got Pokemon trading card game on there, so, but that's not enough for me to go pay for a subscription for NSO. They have to add more stuff that I'm going to enjoy to, you know, get the NSO, you know, subscription and all that jazz. But that's all I got for y'all. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. Other than that, yeah, that's all I got. But love y'all. Take care. Peace.